Go.
Welcome to Not a Great Whisperer podcast. This is your host, Katy Ray. I am joined by the lovely Jamie Doerschuck today. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
This is a perfect example of just how networking brings people together. One of our guests, Mark, thank you for the rooster in the background. One of our guests, Mark, introduced me to Jamie, and I was like, you need to be on my podcast. And she was like, sure. And we're just doing it. That's what we're doing today.
Yeah, we're doers.
We're doing, oh shit. It's gonna be, we are. And now we're going to jump right into her company. I do want the audience to know what you do and how you got into what you're doing now. And then we'll kind of go into like kind of all the ins and outs of personally how it got you there and where you are today and the obstacles you kind of ran into.
Awesome. Yeah. So I am a marketing consultant. I have a boutique consultancy, the Doer Co. We specialize in working with e-commerce companies. I help mission-driven businesses scale up their impact. What that looks like on a day-to-day basis is increasing the conversion of sales, increasing average order values, and increasing purchasing frequency.
All digital on e-commerce side.
I focus on digital, although I have done analog stuff as far as like sales team training, phone scripts, stuff like that. But right now my bread and butter is working with the e-commerce space. So I work with clients like Jay Shetty, Jake Paul, 6 and 7 figure e-commerce businesses. And I've worked in just a bunch of different niches, like everything from, refinancing your home to like beauty consumer products.
Awesome. Jay Shetty.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what made you take the leap to go on your own?
Oh gosh. I mean, that's a story that goes back. To be honest with you, I'll just condense the story to a few sentences. Okay. And if you want the full version, we can dive into it. But when I was in high school, I was on the track to be like a career musician, like playing in an orchestra. My principal instrument was bass clarinet, but I play 8 instruments. So I was doing my auditions for college. And I had to do, like, you mostly don't do a bachelor's in bass clarinet. That would be, normally you would do a bachelor's in like the regular clarinet and master's in performance. But I'm like, no, that's not me. I am a bass clarinetist. So
this is what I am.
Right. And that really limited my choice of schools. So there was like only 2 that I could apply to in America and 3 abroad in 2 different countries. So I did all my application stuff, and then I got my results back, and I decided to go to this music conservatory in Bern, Switzerland. So when I was 18, I moved there, and I had an education visa. So what that means is that you can't work, and Switzerland is very expensive. So I'm like, haha, funny joke. Yeah. And it just became a thing of like, well, I need something that is like location independent, doesn't involve working with Swiss people so that the government doesn't find out, cannot go into my Swiss bank account. And I settled on like teaching myself a skill. And I went on Reddit, reddit.com, if anyone is not familiar with it. And I went on a for hire subreddit, saw that people were like hiring for marketing skills. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll teach myself that. And
how many years ago was that?
That was like, oh gosh, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago.
Wow.
And that's just really how I started. Like I taught myself, I would do, a couple $100 a pop kind of thing.
Because you couldn't get a job there.
Yeah. And I just stuck with it. I mean, eventually I moved back to the States and went to USF, go Bulls, graduated with my degree in economics, but, and I mean, a few side hustles along the way. And also I would usually have like anywhere from 1 or 2 part-time jobs, going to school full time, all the semesters. But yeah, I mean, I just kept it going. And this was like my part-time job. Like instead of working at Publix or something like that, I would just like be a freelance marketer. So then I was graduating in December of 2017. And I was like, well, why don't I roll this part-time thing into a full-time thing? And so January 2nd, 2018 started my LLC.
That's awesome. And what are some of your goals now for this?
Some of my goals now are, let me put it this way. I'm full with client work. So I like my clients. So I love my clients. They're some of my best friends, to be honest. Good. It's a great place to be in, but I'm trying to add like additional revenue streams. So I'm looking to focus on being a speaker. So I'm actually going to be doing, I almost said next month. It's not next month, girl. It's this week. It's this Thursday.
November?
Yeah. It was next month when I started talking about it.
This will be launched after your Thursday.
Yeah. I have more coming up in December.
Oh, good.
So it'll be my first presentation. I've done like in-person presentation. Cause like I've done, I've been like a guest teacher in people's masterminds and stuff like that, and like done team trainings. But this is like a presentation that I'm doing with the Tampa Bay Masterminds group, and we're gonna do it over at the Attic. I'm gonna after this, I'll shoot you a link.
Love it.
If you would love, if you would love to.
Is Chris Romero gonna be there?
I hope so.
Yeah, cool.
I love Chris.
Mm-hmm.
He's my homeboy.
So it's funny because I'm not. That's what I like to tell people too. Like I don't think like digital marketers. Like I'm on the more of like, I like to be in the front, just like talking.
Yeah.
But I surround myself with a lot of them because I learned so much just like sitting in an area of like digital marketers and just people that see it from that technology side. And I think it's amazing when people do that. Like, yes, like-minded people, of course, you get a lot of great ideas, but also like jump into things that make you uncomfortable. Like, I'm like, hi, I'm the dummy here. Can you like rephrase that? I don't know what you just said.
Hey, you know what they say? You wanna surround if you're the smartest person in the room, you're not doing something right. So.
Yeah, exactly. I love that you're going on to speaking. Those are some of my favorite things to do. But now that you're doing presentations, you're hoping to then get hired on to do more presentations in different groups and different networking events.
Yeah, like what I would really love to do is like so many presentations, so many conferences come through Orlando, and like I know that I have no problem breaking into the like $4,000 to $6,000 bracket, but like I can do a couple of those, get my results, get that sweet real footage. I have a videographer coming for my first few. But then that second evolution of get some like name recognition on some conferences or whatever. And then I would love to be like, honestly, just like replacing a client with like one presentation a month. And like, you know, my girlfriend and I live in Gulfport, not together, but like around the corner. So it's just like, you know,
I love Gulfport.
Gulfport is amazing. Keep Gulfport lit.
Oh my gosh. Gulfport lit.
Have you been to O'Matty's? I mean, it's lit there. They have, honestly, if you're looking for the best karaoke in Tampa Bay, every night at O'Matty's. Every night
karaoke?
Every fucking day at 10 o'clock.
I love it. Okay, I'm a big fan of karaoke.
I'm going to start shooting you over invites
after this baby comes out. I'm going to be drinking karaoke at 1 p.m.
Yes. And like what I love about O'Matty's is just they know their audience. And so like sometimes my friends are trying to get me to come to downtown St. Pete, like, you know, $10 or all you can drink at McDenton's or whatever. And I'm like, one, that involves going to McDenton's, which even straight people don't really want to do. Definitely gay people don't want to do. Two, like that's the regular
your audience.
Yeah, that's the regular prices at O'Matty's. Like, why would I go for a drink special when I could just drink that price all the time? So, around the corner.
First of all, O'Matty's is going to love you after this because we'll make sure to do a shout out.
Yes.
But so going to that, are you at a point where you get to pick and choose your clients? So with having so many clients on board, you don't have any employees yet, or you do?
I have
contracted out.
Yeah, just one assistant, and then sometimes I subcontract. It like depends.
Depending on your workload.
Yeah, well, the structure of the team, because sometimes I'm brought in as a consultant, and the client has their own team and internal resources, and then other times they don't, and so I'm bringing on contractors.
Do you still get to play the clarinet?
I don't, but I have a piano in my office. It just became a thing of like to share a personal story. So like, while I was living in Switzerland, like even before I went away to college, I just kind of knew that music professionally like wasn't what exactly I wanted to do for a variety of reasons. Like the lifestyle doesn't quite click with me. And, you know, like sometimes your talents don't align with your personality.
Yep.
So that was kind of that thing. And it's just like, even though I'm good at it, I just don't like it's really mentally breaking work to like work on the same thing. I had to practice 5 to like 6 or 7 hours every single day, like just to keep up with my demands of my private lessons. That's not counting like, you know, you have other classes, you have music theory, ear training. I'm playing in like 2 or 3 other ensembles. So it's just really hard. And I think that it takes a lot of the joy for some people. And like, God bless, like there are so many people out there who can go through music school and like it fits with your personality and it doesn't take the joy away from you. But for me, it just became like, you know, it's like, well, you can't do anything right. Like I feel like I can't do anything right because it's like I'm working on the same piece for 3 months, well, like a set of pieces. And it's like, yeah, well, that was great, but this one measure this, that, and the other. And then now the whole hour is just like going over, no, not like that, like this.
And that's
no,
every
not like
instrument,
that, like
right?
this. Yeah. And it's just really hard. So I like became depressed, and it was like my mom wound up actually having to come. Thank you. This is service.
We just had coffee delivered to us.
Yes.
From wonderful branding, Kevin.
I highly recommend. This is the best. I have a poncho. Like I'm swaddled right now.
Called Amazing Producers.
Yes.
But so in Switzerland, you were becoming like this?
Oh yeah. And so after like, 6 months or so, and my mom actually wound up having to come back because she was worried about me. She was worried that I was going to kill myself. I wasn't like exactly suicidal, but I am glad that she came and like made the time, and she stayed with me for, I don't remember if it was like 1 or 2 weeks, but like just to check up on me and take care of me. And also like I started therapy. And so like to help me, like, because I mean, it's a whole different healthcare system. And I mean, I had Swiss health insurance because you have to, but so
your
like
mindset was off and she knew it.
Yeah. And so she came and like took care of me and helped me, like it's overwhelming to find a therapist. And I know you had to go and like see if you liked them and if I needed. Luckily, I liked her. Irina, you the real MVP. I mean, Mom, you're the real MVP.
Yeah, of course.
Irina, you're the secondest real.
I love therapists. I think that everybody should go to therapists no matter what spot
and it is about finding the right fit,
Oh, yeah.
Like if you are not feeling super about it after the first 1 or 2 sessions, then just try someone else. Cause I mean, it's just like friends, you are not going to be like best friends with everybody. Yeah. It's still like different personalities and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's not going to be like your ideal. Like you might think, oh, this is going to be a perfect fit.
Yeah.
But it's not always the person you expect. But yeah, 2 real MVPs. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
But did you leave after that?
I stayed and finished out the year because I had to try to figure out what my plan B was. And so like I had gotten accepted to USF also, but I deferred my enrollment. So I was able to like pick that back up and come back the year after, because it's a thing of like, I didn't go to like a university in Switzerland. I went to a music conservatory. So it's like,
this is what you live and breathe.
Yeah, it's like, well, do you want to, you're not happy? Like, do you want to play piano? Like, do you want to sing? And it's like, no, I want to do like not music.
Yeah, like this isn't actually what I wanted to do. Can I go somewhere else? So what do you think has always made you such a motivated individual as a child? Because I think a lot of people would have given up quickly. You even finished it out. And just you pushing to create some type of revenue while you were at the music conservatory. Like, what do you think? How were you disciplined as a child? Like, did you always have instruments that you were disciplined in? Or like, how do you think your mindset kind of grew to that?
Well, to be honest, like as far as music and childhood, like I started pretty late. Most people who wind up getting to that level at music. And I mean, I was in the musicians union in New Jersey, like before I went to college and stuff. So like, but I didn't start music. I mean, I went to a school where you had to play recorder, and then in 2nd grade, you had to like pick an instrument. So I was like playing clarinet since 2nd grade, but not anything serious. And I really didn't start doing it, like practicing and stuff until like 5th grade. So that's rather late to start music and to get to that level. But overall, I would say that my parents I was really into sports. So I have been like playing sports for longer than I played music. And I did get to a point in my high school career where I had to choose between sports and music, and I picked music. But it was always a thing with my parents where it's like, all they care about is that I say that I tried my best. And
you gave it your best.
Yeah. And so if it became a thing of like quitting something, is it like, well, are you thinking of quitting like because it's hard, or are you thinking of quitting because you've tried your best and you really don't like it? And sometimes the answer was I really don't fucking like it. Like gymnastics, that I pieced out of that after like 2 or 3 lessons.
You're like, bye.
Yeah. But like soccer and stuff, that's like, well, I just don't like this team. Like, I just don't like this group of people because they're not being very nice to me. But that doesn't mean that I should like never play soccer again. That's
But you
like,
always had open communication with your parents to kind of get to that level.
Yeah. And it's just like, finish it out. Like you can find a different group of people. And honestly, it's like that. Like you don't really play with the same team like every single season.
Yeah.
So it's like, just keep going. Like that doesn't mean you don't like soccer. It just means like
doer.
Yeah. My mom actually, that's her phrase. Yeah. She's like, like we put the doer in Doerschuck. Like you got to put the doer in Doerschuck. So then I'm like,
That's
okay,
adorable.
yeah, like I will actually.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. Thank you.
And you grew up where?
Oh gosh, everywhere. I was born on Long Island, New York. We moved to North Carolina when I was like little. And then I lived in Florida for several years, but on the other side, the East Coast. Now I live on the actual best West Coast. To be clear, this is the real West Coast.
Clear.
Then I moved from there. I lived in New Jersey. I lived in Pennsylvania, and like I grew up in Pennsylvania. But then I moved to Switzerland, and then I moved from Switzerland to here, and I've lived here in Tampa Bay for like 5 years.
Love it. So when you moved here after USF, you were already doing your part-time still. But you got your LLC a year ago?
Yeah.
So from that, do you see, even though you're getting like another streamlined revenue, do you see yourself building a team under you? Do you need a team under you?
Like, need is a yes. Like if I'm giving an honest answer, and I do have my marketing assistant who like any business owner, as you're growing, I had the point where I'm working like, back-to-back 10, 11, 12-hour days and then only working like 6 hours on Saturday or something. So at that point, I was like, well, I really need help. So I brought on my assistant, and now I'm pretty much able to keep it like 9 to 5 and not working on the weekends. And isn't it so weird when you have to like tell yourself like my commitment to my self-care is only working 8 hours a day and not on the weekends.
I know it's hard. Well, for me, it's hard, but yeah, I know it's super hard. And it's funny because you're like, who are you talking to?
Yeah. But it's like, as far as like, do I see myself like scaling this up to an agency? Like, I don't know. I don't really want, I
kind of like where you are right now.
Yeah. And if any, like, what I want and why I want to incorporate speaking and stuff. And like, I'm in the process of writing my first book, and I have a co-branded course that I'm going to do with someone, but then I want to like roll out my own courses too. And it's because I want to take the lessons that I've learned. I mean, I've been able to accomplish a lot for my clients in a really short amount of time. Like I've helped my clients generate directly from our work $10 million in revenue since 2018. So like I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
And I want to
kind of duplicate it.
Yeah. And just teach other people how to do it, because the thing for me is that like I would love to see more people be able to have you ever read Crush It by Gary Vee?
No, I haven't read it, but
not the yellow one, the black little one. Yeah. So his like hypothesis in that book is that like whatever your hobby is, it could be raising chickens, like it could be gardening, whatever, video games, like being a YouTuber about video games and stuff, like whatever your interest is, clothes, jewelry, makeup, you can find like easily with just a little bit of effort, $30,000 to $70,000 a year. Like that's attainable for most people in most industries.
Raising chickens?
Yeah, and give it, being an info products and stuff around it, or kits or retail, and it is possible for most people. And I like that really resonated with me, and I would really like to see other people
be able to do that.
Yeah, because I don't think that the office culture that we have right now is healthy. And like, I think that the biggest shift that we're going to have economically over the next 20 years or so is that it is not necessary to have an office. You're you're artificially limiting yourself to people who are in your geographic region, and you cannot guarantee that you're going to get the best graphics designer in the world only 20 miles away from where your office is located. And there are so many companies, we're due for a correction in this aspect because there are so many companies who just have that. I don't think it will go away entirely. No. And I think that there is obviously a power of connecting in person, having, even if not, but I think we're going to see the 5-day work week go to maybe like a 3-day work week, or at least maybe a 2 or 3 day.
3 to 4 would be wonderful.
Yeah. Or 2 or 3 days in the office and the rest at home. And, it's, you see some people like organizations moving to that with like a certain quantity of work from home days per quarter, but that's not enough. Like, I don't think that it's realistic to expect 5 years from now that the majority of people are going to be coming in person for their work. I don't think that that's realistic. And I just want more people to have a better work-life balance, have the flexibility, because, I really enjoy being able to go to the grocery store. Like, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm feeling like stumped with whatever I'm working on.
Take your break.
Yeah. And take a little bit. And I've been guilty of not doing that. Shout out to my friend Alex Abel with Lunch Pool, because he has really got it in my head to like allow myself to have that, one, eat, and two,
important.
to like, well, I'm the kind of person, that like when I get really focused, I'm just not hungry. And then it'll be like, 6:30 or 7. So usually like my girlfriend's coming over, I'm coming to her house for dinner, and she's like, have you eaten today? And I'm like, no, this will be my first meal.
So work-life balance and health over here. Wellness, Jamie. Let's get it together.
Yeah. Well,
like, I don't feel like I've left my screen. I don't remember eating anything.
Then other days I like work out in the middle of the day or something, or take a shower.
Feels good.
Yeah. Like sometimes you're like, I'm just fucking grimy today. Like I don't
shower.
Yeah. Like I don't feel good. Like I'm slimy, grimy, slip and sliding everywhere. I smell rank. Like
I should wash my hair.
Yeah. I need a shower. Like, and you can't do that.
Thank you for showering today. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I think I look pretty, like, I've got the silken, what is it? Corn silk or whatever. I don't know. This is what my girlfriend tells me. She's very sweet, very good with the compliments.
How long have you been together?
Well, it depends on the phase.
Okay.
We were kind of hanging out for like 2 years in March, but we like got into a relationship. It's been over a year, and it would be like 2 years in June.
Wow. Love that.
Yeah.
That's good. And you guys both live in Gulfport.
Yeah, we both live in Gulfport, but separately.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, like I don't know why. I mean, because of lesbians and U-Haul and stuff, like
the U-Haul and the cats and the...
And our friends, like, even after I don't even think we were dating. Like, I don't even think that we were girlfriends. And people were like, oh yeah, you guys live together. And we're like, no.
We don't. Very defensive. We live separately.
Yeah, like we're taking this in stages.
I love that though. And you're young. You have so much motivation and passion for what you do. I love that. I think it's super important. And I think you learned early to surround yourself with like-minded people with motivation wise. So like a lot of people, because you're younger than me, I think you're like 10 years younger than me. I mean, because I'm 24, she's 14.
Yeah. I look 14.
She's 14. But I'm saying it's hard because I know that there were stages in my life where I did not surround myself with motivated people. And now where I am in this stage, I'm like, oh, why did I not do this earlier?
Yeah.
Like, why did I not go around people that help you, support you? Even if they're in the same industry as you, they're going to give you great ideas. They're going to help you. They're going to give you advice. I always, that's no regrets.
Yeah.
But that's what one regret is like.
No regrets.
No regrets. Not one letter. But that's one thing I do see. It's so good when I feel like younger people see that early.
Yeah.
Because it's like sky's the limit.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm 14 now, so like
you're doing great. Even to Switzerland. 14, you're living your life.
And I mean, to add on to that, I would think, and let me know what you think about this, but I would say like even having the awareness of like what kind of personality traits like don't serve you. Mm-hmm. Because when I was on my Bumble /Tinder /her /OkCupid
swipe left, right,
roll, yeah,
swipes. That wasn't really around when I was in that age, so I'm like, what?
When I was swiping my swipes, though, I mean, I did have to have a real talk with myself and be like, whoever can be for one time. But if it's going to be someone that I'm hanging out with regularly, I need someone more responsible than me, because if they are not more responsible than me, then I very easily veer off of the
track.
Oh yeah. And I'm like, so I need me, like, if we're going to be hanging out, like, you can't be
your standards.
Yeah. Like, you can't be a wild child. Like, you hopefully like have a job and a car.
You're not like saying, no, this isn't for me. You just know like where you stand and your boundary of like, no, I need to be like on this level.
Yeah. And like, if this is going to get me off track, then, my track, especially in the beginning, like, my track is obviously what matters, and not like someone. My mantra to myself was like, you don't have to commit to every person you meet on the internet.
That's a nice, solid mantra.
Yeah. And if it's like we hung out one time and I don't
like you.
Yeah. Like, if I don't like you, then I don't need to feel bad about just like, doing a ghost. Like,
no. I understand that, especially because it's a good realization for you to come to, because people do waste their time on a lot of connections. It's called like missed connections. I think that's on Craigslist. But it's more like you don't have to spend time with someone that doesn't click, but also give them an opportunity. If you think you're like-minded, we like rush into it. Like, you should be putting some investment into people that you think will be good for you. But if you notice like this is keeping me off track, it's like realization, self-awareness, like this, I have to go back to what I was doing because I feel better in that atmosphere.
And at the end of the day, it's about understanding your priorities and like in a real way getting to know the other person and their priorities, because I'm not I'm not trying to change anyone. So it's like, if you're if your prerogative right now is like you want to go out every night and stuff, like, do that. Like, I'm not going to stop you from doing that, but also I can't join you every time.
And it gets you off your track.
Yeah. And then it is just a thing though of like, if that's why it can only be for some time, like because if that's just the cycle that you're in right now and you are really living your best life, like, it's not, I'm going to feel bad, like, to be invited all the time and not be able to go, or more realistically, having the opportunity to go, I fucking will.
Yeah.
So
you're like, oh, no, I have the time. I'll be there.
I'll absolutely go, but then it won't.
When to say no.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, that's a very good, as a 14-year-old, you're doing great. So what's been the biggest obstacle kind of going on your own? So when you came home from Switzerland, you were going to school, you were doing everything. What's one of the biggest hardships you faced?
I would say like just the challenges that come up with doing client work. So like, you deliver something and they're not happy with it, or like getting paid on time, or even just doing prospecting at all, like having the like, oh my God, like, I have this appointment with this, like, what the fuck am I gonna say? Like, da-da-da-da-da. And like, just developing processes for what exactly it is that I do. And qualifying people, like, and just really valuing my time, because it's not, every person that comes to me has a story and they're passionate about what they do. And I want to help every single person, but it's like, I have to value my time. And if you can't afford me, then that really limits the amount of time that I would be able to work on helping you.
But you know what you're worth, and it's like you've had to learn to say no.
Yeah. That's been really challenging. And also just like, I would say just a bit, it happens. Like, you deliver something and the client is not happy with it. And like, the worst thing to hear is like, I'm just really surprised and this didn't meet my expectations at all.
So the failure of that.
Yeah. And also just like it's a normal part of client work. As you learn more, it happens to you less, but that doesn't mean that it never happens. And it's just like, I have a lot of anxiety. So when that happens, I'm like freaking out, and it's like, well, I want to just be under the covers and stuff.
Super hard on yourself too. So.
Yeah. But that's not going to resolve the situation. And it's just like taking it on the chin and being like, I hear what you're saying. I hear, like, I think that you're saying that this, that, and the other thing you don't like. Do you think that if I change it by that way, and this way, that will be good for you? And they're like, sure, usually not very happy, but I don't charge, if they're really like, this is not meeting my expectations. Like my projects are for unlimited revisions before we launch. And then if it doesn't meet our KPIs, or if it's not as good as what you had before, then unlimited revisions until afterwards. But it takes a lot to understand the value of that and pricing yourself so that I can be able to do that.
Yeah. And you're not just redoing everything because people are picky as shit. Like you have to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. And they have to kind of come at you with something measurable. So like you have to be able to see it and then provide a solution for them.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to go through. So that's a huge growing pain in your company.
Yeah. And I mean, really just to be like, I messed up, but being communicative about it up front. And I mean, like instantly, like as much as it sucks, responding to those feedback, like within 30 minutes about, I hear you, do these, like if we take these steps, do you think that's going to work for you?
Yep.
And I can do that, give an expectation of a timeline.
Sometimes people just want that attention.
Yeah. Well, and, think about the flip side. Like, unfortunately, so many people get burned by marketers in our industry. And,
so true.
And this is when you say that you're unhappy with something, that's usually when you get ghosted. And I have like a point of pride of like being communicative. And even in that instance, like this is where you have to prove it the most.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so that is a challenge. And something I learned through it is that when you have a problem, that's really a great opportunity to show people that you'll take it the extra mile.
And you're just treating people the way you would want to be treated in that situation. That's that's just morals, like that's just you being a good person.
Or if you're really not happy with it, I'll just refund it. Like, it's in our contract that you can't use it, but every time I'm prepared to refund our project in full, because I don't want you to work with me if you don't want to work with me.
Because you didn't go out drinking the night before to use it. That's good. You just throwing some knowledge as a 14-year-old. Knowledge to the people. So give some advice on, I think, what generation are you then?
I guess a millennial. I'm not really sure. I'm old on the inside though.
Old soul.
I mean, as a 14-year-old, I'm like Gen Z, I guess, but
I'm called an elder millennial. So it's great. One of my favorite, Jamie posted something that said someone about like talking about they have kids and then you're wiping your eyes with hundreds. Say, oh, I'm so sorry. Like that was one of my favorite things.
It was like
that's when I knew we'd get along so well.
It's like you don't know what are you tired about? Like you don't even have kids. You have nothing to be tired. Or what was it? Was like you
can't be tired.
You don't know true joy until you have kids. And it's like someone crying and like wiping their eyes like with $100 bills. That's me with my dog.
Like this is amazing. Also, I'm crying inside.
Yeah, you and Khalid were both like I'm laughing but crying.
Also crying because it was hilarious. But what is something you can give your generation advice on? Like you see the trends that are happening or kind of the lack of motivation. And a lot, I think, has to do with anxiety and social media and things like people just comparing themselves to each other.
Yeah.
It's sad, right?
Yeah.
But what's kind of some advice you can give them?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that as a generation, millennials are some of the hardest working people. And I think that it maybe comes back to something that we just discussed, which is know your value, because it's not necessarily that millennials are lazy, but it's like, you're working unpaid internships. Like you need to know your value. Like exposure does not pay your bills.
You're so right with unpaid internships.
And companies are going to take advantage of you. And the other thing in this case, not only to know your worth, but like know your rights, because the Supreme Court, I think it was in 2015, between 2014 and 16, had a ruling that like companies are not legally allowed to have unpaid internships if your work is basically if they're being compensated for your work, like if they're using your work for servicing their clients, or if your work is being deployed. Yeah. So like
educate yourselves.
Yeah. And then that's part of knowing your worth, like, so not only do you have to say no to those and if it's like, if you have no experience, but
you're shadowing someone.
Yeah. And I wouldn't
like
do it with
different.
a company, and yeah, shadowing is a good word, because this is something different, where it's like, if you're doing an unpaid internship where you're mostly mostly shadowing, mostly learning from somebody else, that and the Supreme Court, like there are a couple of different like sliders that they use to determine whether it's legal or illegal to have it be unpaid. But like, if you're unpaid, the majority of it should be value to you. They should be training you. They should be giving you opportunities. They should be sending you to conferences. They should be buying you online products to learn, if it's unpaid, you should be learning,
providing some type of benefit from it,
and not doing, and not do it. Doer Co. Like, doing is important. Be a doer, of course, but like, if you're not being compensated, you shouldn't be giving value to them by performing tasks that they're being paid for, but you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, if you're going to do something for free, why don't you just do it for yourself? You don't have to have a company. Like, you can just start a YouTube channel, like just your library at school. If you're in college, like, you have so many resources. You can get, lynda.com subscription for free through your school. Most schools you can get, Photoshop, the whole Adobe suite, video editing stuff for free through your school. So utilize the resources and, if you have a .edu email address still, you can
register for those, right?
Yeah, like you can get some, or
quick tip.
Yeah, if you still have access to it from college, like you can still get free or steeply discounted things. And if you're not in school, your library, you can often get lynda.com subscriptions to your library. Your library probably has usually they have subscriptions to a bunch of newspapers, to a bunch of journals. Your college is going to have more in the way of academic journals, but and YouTube is such an amazing resource.
And do the work, right?
Yeah.
So much support resources around, but people want that instant gratification, but you've worked on this for a long time.
And it's consistency. You can't, because most people are not afraid of doing the work, but I mean, you're not going to be putting one YouTube video up and then getting 1 million views, of course. Just be. And, this is something that Gary Vaynerchuk talks about a lot that I think is really important is, be grateful for those 10 views. I mean, if you had a small get together at your studio apartment, 10 people might not fit in there. So, so be thankful. 10 people in this office would be a lot. We had 4 people in here and there was a little tight in some of these rooms. So 10 people, that's a lot, and be grateful for their time and their attention. And you get 1 subscriber, that's a new friend. That's a new step in the right direction. You only get to 100,000 or 1 million after 1.
Yep.
That's cool. It's just not all going to happen overnight. And even, I was able to start an LLC and turn I was able to start a full-time consultancy right after graduating, but I was doing it part-time for 3 years, 4 years, Gary Vaynerchuk, 6 or 7 years until the VaynerMedia got to that size. All these people, John Lee Dumas, took 6 years to get to the multi-$100,000.
Be patient, get your time.
And it's every step. It's every step and every hour that you put into it is what's going to get you there. But you have to be consistent about it, and you can't just do something once. Or I feel millennials do this, but also a lot of people, it becomes a thing of spending one weekend or something 20 hours on your side hustle. Mm-hmm. But then the next week, nothing, the next week, nothing, the next week, nothing, until next month, another sprint. And it honestly, I got farther spending, 4 hours a week, 10 hours a week, every single week for 3 years than you will doing, 20 hours in one, because people are out there working a lot harder than I am, but they're just not, like the consistency isn't there.
Yep. And you've mastered that for yourself.
Yeah.
Which is super important. I love that advice.
And music really teaches you that, because you can't, when you're learning a new piece, the first thing that you do is you play through it. You're going to fucking suck at it. You're going to fuck it up. It might not sound anything like how you might go through it, and then your teacher's
embrace the suck.
Yeah, and your teacher's like, oh, okay, and now I'm gonna play you a recording of it, and you're like, oh shit, like was that the same song that I just played?
Do you want to hear how you sound? You sucked. Thank you.
And but it's like those hours and hours of practice every single day, and every week by week your lessons, and you don't, Beyonce practiced for 3 months to have a 2-hour stadium show. That's what it takes to get to that level.
To Queen Bee?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to have a show in 3 months, Jamie and I. We're going to be practicing now.
Yeah. And my opener, Beyonce.
Yes. She'll be there as well.
I'll be 15 years old.
She'll be 15 by then. We're super excited. Okay. So let's go over your website, your handles, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. My website is which is the one that's like up, not the one that's
not an underscore. Okay, yeah. Guys.
The Doerco.com, the-doerco.com. My Twitter is at the _Doer Co.
Okay.
My Instagram is the Doer Co as one word. Look, just type in the Doer Co to Google, okay? Or
find her on the Not a Great Whisper.
Yeah. Or my name, Jamie Doerschuck, Doerschuck. Just Google that and all my stuff comes up. I have a great Medium blog, so good, where I write about marketing and stuff.
Good. I think I'm gonna soon have like a mastermind panel podcast too with all of you guys here, so that'll be super fun. So Jamie will be back for sure.
I mean, you've got this sweet 4 mic setup, and we're only using 2 of them right now, so we could fit 2 more friends in our studio apartment
here. Yeah, we love our studio apartment. And then remember that look for her new events that are coming out. It'll probably be on your website, right?
Yeah. Oh, December. I'll say so. The one is on the 21st, which this will come out after that. On December 4th. I'm going to be speaking at Chris Romero's
awesome
content and SEO thing at Symphony in St. Petersburg. Cool. And then on December 5th, I'm going to be presenting to the SPC CEO Club.
All right. I want people to know, get yourself out there, talk to people you've never talked to. Jamie and I just had this awesome, fun conversation about life, which I know we'll have more of. But thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, I had so much fun. Thank you for inviting me.
We got some coffee and a little bit chilly in here. I
highly recommend being a guest. Like, I'm swaddled as fuck. I have a poncho on right now. I am so comfy.
I got coffee from these nice fellas.
Yeah, like this like fucking artisanal coffee, like the roosters. Like, I got some great pictures on the way in.
This is how we roll. So we're at BKN Creative Studio in Ybor. You'll find us at Not a Great Whisper or at The Real K-Ray, Krey. Check us out on the page. Check out Jamie's episode. Look up her company, see what she does. And thank you for joining. Morty's Music will sign you out. Thanks.